On speaker.
Can I just have the person identifying as iPad? Can I ask your name, or can you change your name, please?
It's Steve.
Oh, hi, Steve.
Hi. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Mr. Chairman, we are ready to go.
All right, just give me 1 minute. Okay, let's start off by saying a pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the
of
flag
the United States of America
States of America.
and to the republic for which it stands,
And
Stands
nation,
one nation under God,
indivisible with
with
liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
I want to thank everybody for joining the meeting. First thing we're going to do is minutes. Everybody get a chance to read the minutes?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Any corrections or additions, Dennis?
I've already
No.
submitted them to the clerk.
What are they?
Very minor ones. Second page, third line down, inserting the word is between sign and 15.6 feet. And then at the end of that line, building is 20 feet. And lastly, the first vote at the bottom of the page, all in favor, not un. It was a typo.
I get a motion to accept the minutes as corrected.
I make a motion we accept as amended.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Minutes passed. Okay, the first one we're going to talk about tonight is Superior Country Club Motel. Is there a representative for Superior?
Rocky, you're muted.
Thank you, I'm sorry. Rocky Coca, I'm here.
So Alex, note my recusal from this particular application because I represent the applicant.
All right, Rocky, if you're, feel free to give your presentation.
Okay, we've signed a franchise agreement with Wyndham to convert the Coca's Inn Suites to a Super 8 by Wyndham. In doing that, we have to change all the signs out. We're not changing any of the boxes. We're just changing the faces. But in one of my faces, I have a message board that's manual that we change by hand. It becomes difficult to change sometimes in the wintertime and stuff like that. And in changing the signs over, we've been asked if we can put a digital message board there that we can control from the office and change messages as needed, welcoming our guests. Back, I think in 2000, maybe 12, we got approval of the message board that is facing Central Avenue. And normally when you get a message board, you're usually getting it for both sides of the road. Well, ours is just facing Central Avenue. So this side would face east and it would face Wolf Road. But in theory, if I had put the message board on Central Avenue, what do I want to say, perpendicular to the road or Central Avenue, it would be seen from both sides. But, and you know, in making the change to a Super 8, we don't have a big pit because we're pretty clean as it is. But, you know, we do have to make some changes like lighting and, you know, refreshing the lot, some landscaping, painting the building to their specification colors, which aren't going to change too much. It'll be more like a refresh. We don't want to make it look different, but we want it to look different and new. And we think that sign, you know, changing with a Super 8, having the digital sign out there with it, will give it that little bit more of a, you know, look that we need to have to keep up with the times and not look dated with a new sign change and keeping the same old manual reader board, message board. And I've signed a contract with Super 8. We're moving forward. The only thing we're on pause right now with is that digital message board.
Okay. Dennis, you got anything on this?
No, it's just a simple switch from manual to digital. The only thing I'd be concerned about is luminescence, so we're not throwing lights out into Wolf Road.
I don't understand what it is, but I believe it's like a 19, whatever that is, 19. It's going to fit right in, you know, it's not taking up any more space than the sign takes up now. It's just where the white reader board is. I don't know if you have got pictures from Russ or the survey from Joe, but we did have one.
Yeah,
And Russ, I think, submitted it with the paperwork. You know, with the COVID going on, nobody's been able to really get together other than like this.
Rocco, can I ask you a question on that?
Absolutely.
If it appears to be too bright, we have complaints. Are you going to be able to turn the looms down on it?
Sure.
I'm good.
Bill, is Bill here?
I'm good as long as, everything's the same. The only question Dennis came up with was the luminescence of the sign. If that can be adjusted, we should be fine.
All righty. Carol?
I'm just concerned that there wouldn't be a flashing digital signal. Would it just be running?
Well, the flashing digital signals, no, there wouldn't be because it's not allowed. The sign I have out there now, I'm not allowed to have flashing.
Right.
Or even rolling. I thought I'd be able to have rolling, but that was not allowed either. So it just changes every minute now. And, you know, with the competition that we have from the town and coming across the street, I think you're going to get bombarded with signs like this in the future. I don't know how do you,
Okay.
I don't know, yeah.
Okay, I'm good with it.
Well, I'm good with it also, as long as we're able to adjust the looms on it. And he follows the procedures of the code, the village on it. So can I get a
Mr.
motion?
Chairman, we did have a public comment.
Okay, who is it?
It is the owner of 8 Wolf Road, which
Yes.
is the restaurant basically on the other side of the
In the
Northway
future, let me
ramp.
know the comments before, okay?
Yep, this is the only one there is. So, the property owner just had concerns over the brightness and the flashing lights. She saw that it could be a possible distraction to the vehicles entering the 87 ramp. She said the ramp is dim as it is. So she just has some concerns over the brightness as well and the flashing lights.
Do you think we answered that question for the person by having it, making sure it's dimmable if it's too bright?
Yes.
Does everybody agree to that?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, if that's the case, then let's get a motion and either accept it or reject it.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we approve the digital sign with the same stipulations that Rocco is familiar with from the sign is facing onto, where it's going to be, goes on a certain time, goes off, and if it's not going to be a disturbance to the public.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second it.
I'd like to add that the sign doesn't change at least for a minute.
Right,
Well, that's part of the law, yeah.
that's part of our law, but that's a good point to bring up. All right, on the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Fine.
All opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Alex,
Yes.
is it possible to have the person from BJ's that information that made the comment? Because I'd like to meet with her because we're always recommending BJ's, and if she has any issues with that sign, I would be more than happy to go over and look at it with her and, do whatever it would do to help her.
Oh, sure. It wasn't BJ's. It was the one on the other side. It's an Asian restaurant.
Oh, okay. Well, they're not even going to see it.
Yeah, but I had to submit the public notices to the adjacent neighbors, so she just called and
Okay.
just wanted to air her concerns.
Okay. All right.
And I think anytime something like that comes up, it would go through this, the code enforcement officer, and then he would make sure he would be out there with you if you have to meet anybody. It would go through the village on it.
Absolutely.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good
you very
evening.
much. I appreciate it. Stay
No
safe.
problem.
Thanks,
everyone.
Rocky.
All right, bye-bye.
Rocky.
All right, next is going to be Pioneer Bank.
How do I get out? Okay.
I got you, Rocky. Oh, there you go.
Pioneer Bank, please, if you're here.
We have a couple of representatives.
Good evening. My name is Philip Walsh. I'm the facilities officer for Pioneer Bank. Thanks for having me tonight.
Well, thanks for coming.
I'll refer to Terry to start out the presentation, and any questions you might have for the bank, I should be able to field those for you. I believe you're muted, Terry.
Mhm.
And I guess I can get started. Yeah. Okay, I can get started. I don't want to hold you guys up. So we would like to change our electronic message center to our new branding. And that's basically the long and the short of it. We prepared to for it to remain static and adhere to the times to come on and off as you had told us in November of 2019.
I think I'm all set now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I don't know if you want to continue on, Phil, or do you want me to take it over?
No, you can give a little background on it if you like.
Okay. So, yeah, so continue on what he was saying. They want to keep it the same. What they're doing is basically going to be like a face changeover, but it's an EMC. They're going to just basically change the look of it and change the face to what they have and just change the look of what they have. And it's just basically what you see is what they got. And just like your last customer you had, you can dim it if it's too bright. I don't think it'll be too much of a hindrance on anybody.
One of the questions that came up, is it a movable sign? Is it
No.
digital?
Nope, it's gonna be static just like before.
You have the color that you can show us what you're changing it to, because we approved it a green color, which is at the time when you came in, what you claimed that was your color, your code, or your brand. Tell us what's different and why that's changed and what the color would be if you could show us.
Well, I believe we submitted pictures of what it would look like. I don't know if I have the ability to get those to you during the
I got it. Look,
So what I'm looking at is a color photo with the top band wording Farmers Market on it, and it's a greenish color. Is
That
that
was-
what you're?
No, that was the original submission.
Okay.
so where's the one that you?
Unfortunately, I don't have in my possession
Okay.
another color code other than a photograph. And what I'm looking at in this photo, there does not appear to be a color in that band.
So if you're looking at the same photo, the western elevation, you do see where it says all together forward?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is in like a purple color. Our
I
new
do.
branding has several colors to it, and that is one of the colors there. And then as you wrap around to the north elevation, that corner is a street scene with our P logo in the corner. And as you work your way from right to left, you'll see Pioneer and the words all together forward with a white background.
Okay, I see it.
That actually is our current logo that we have, using throughout the organization. But if you have any suggestions, we will see what we can try to do. But as Terry said, we have the ability to dim the entire sign, not just the white area. We can pretty much do anything with this.
So what we're saying then is, where it says altogether Pioneer, the logo that shows the car and I don't know if that's a red light or something is in that way.
Yeah, it's a street
That's
theme.
That's not gonna flicker, or that's gonna be, it's just
Absolutely not. No, it remains static.
and it's gonna have the capability of dimming it down.
Absolutely.
Okay, Dennis, you got anything on this?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Carol?
I just think it looks awful busy. The original that we had given them approval before is neat, and it has, you could see it visibly really good. And so this seems awful busy to me.
All right, Billy?
I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. The only one concern was, if you remember way back when, Dennis does, and Carol, when that video store came in,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and they had those bright lights out in that sign. So as long as it doesn't turn out like that, where they can adjust it down, I don't think there should be an issue.
Yes, I believe overall it's much lighter anyways without the bright green throughout the whole thing, but we can absolutely adjust it as needed.
All right, then I'll make a motion that we give them the variance for that.
Before we do that,
Shoot, go ahead.
So is this up there now?
No, sir.
So the only stipulation I would say is if we allow this and we feel that, as Carol said, it's too busy or too bright or whatever, it can be adjusted.
I
Correct?
agree with that, yeah.
Yes, I mean, we can adjust it as far as light goes. It is our brand. It would be a challenge for us to change our brand. We're trying to be,
Yeah.
consistent throughout the organization, but we will work with you in any way we can.
Yeah, Brian, we don't-
Go ahead, Dennis. I'll do it.
We don't want to be editors of the signed verbiage, and it's just your brand, your brand. Our concern is safety, public safety,
Right.
luminescence onto the street. That's what the sign code is for.
Right, and when he came to us before, did you know about your brand then? That we could have acted on that a while ago instead of...
Our brand wasn't prepared at that time, ma'am, no.
Oh, all right.
Because you changed the one on Wolf Road also, didn't you?
Yes, we changed the one on Wolf Road and the one in downtown Albany and then the one in downtown Schenectady.
All right. Does anybody else have any more questions on this?
To be perfectly honest, we didn't need any sign review at those locations.
I understood. For the board, does anybody have any more questions?
No.
Is there any
No.
public? Do we have any public questions on this?
No, there was no public comment.
Okay, great. All right, so then I'll go back and make the motion that we give them the variance for it with as long as it has the ability to be turned down for its brightness.
So Alex, this would be a modification of the pre-existing variance, authorizing the banding to change to what was proposed with the same restricting and conditions that we put on the previous variance.
Okay? Can I get a second on that?
Yeah,
I'll
me.
second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passed unanimously. Okay, that was done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too, sir. Okay, next on the list is New Karner, 350 New Karner Road, Volvo. Is there a representative on for this?
Yes, I'm Tom Wheeler with AJ Sign Company.
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
How are you?
Go ahead.
Before we get started, Alex, again, just for the record, you have to note my recusal from this because I represent the owner of the dealership.
Got it.
Okay,
Basically, what we're looking to do is a fairly typical car dealership signage. This will be capital Volvo. So on the building itself, we have the letters that say capital, and then another sign that says Volvo. So that counts as two signs. There's a directional sign over the service bays where you pull in to get your service done. It says service, which helps you get to where you need to go. In the front of the lot, there's going to be a certified sign on a wall, certified by Volvo. And then there's also the monument sign. The monument sign is very similar in size to the one across the road at the other car dealer. The extra height helps the sign to be seen. It's going to be in a field of cars, essentially. Gives us some visibility so people can, in fact, find the dealership.
Okay, Bill, you got any questions on this?
Not yet.
All right. Well, I'll start off. The monument sign, you call it a monument sign, it's like almost 20 feet in the air, isn't it? Yeah, it's 20 feet, which is, I kind of feel it's a little bit too high. I mean, the other side of the road, if my memory serves you right, I could be wrong, but that's the town of Colony, which I don't think they have the restrictions we have. So the rest of the signage you have for the building, in my opinion, isn't really that overwhelming compared to what we've done with other dealerships. The service sign, which is more informational than anything else. You do have a sign on the front of the building that says Volvo, capital Volvo, I believe it says. So I kind of think that that would give them clear reference to where you are. But that's my opinion. Dennis, what's your thoughts on this?
That's a dangerous precedent of going for 20 feet for a monument
so.
sign. We've had CarMax, when they made the application, they brought their sign down. Verizon brought their sign down. I think we got to, have a compromise here. We want to encourage business in the village.
I agree with you, Dennis. I'm looking at his drawing, Dennis, and the board, and if you see it, it shows your frontal of the building.
Yeah.
And it's got Volvo capital, I believe that's what it says, yes. So, I mean, that's clear from the road, from the way I drove by it a couple of times, and you can notice it's there. Carol, do you have anything on this? You want to put your?
No, just that I think it's too high.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And the only thing on that sign is Volvo, so it would be clearly visible from the road if it was a lower height, not so high.
Mm-hmm. And Dennis brings up a good point with CarMax. They have a monument sign there. We'd open up a can of worms, I think.
Can I interject for just one moment? My name's Eric Kahn. I'm the owner of the dealership.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, we've been building this facility from the ground up and have a large investment here. And many of the signs here, all the signs here are signs that are brand signs that Volvo, the manufacturer, wants us to have as a dealer.
True. Okay.
And so that's where it comes from. And, of course, we want people to find us. Cars are going to be on the ground. They could be blocking other, if signs are too low, the visibility of these other signs, if something was too low, it could be blocked by the cars. So, we'd love to have the sign, the pylon sign, if that's what it's called, as high as possible.
Bill?
I just think the monument sign is too high. 42 feet above that can't work.
No. And I'm to the gentleman's comment, I think the board, we haven't really talked about it. The rest of the signage on the buildings for your area doesn't seem to be the one what's in question. What's in question is that monument sign.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, we do have one across the street. I know it's not the village, but it is, a sign that we've had for years across the street where we've been operating.
Eric, if you take a look down at the corner of 155 and Central, there's a Rite Aid and a Walgreens.
Yeah.
Right. The Rite Aid sits in the town of Colony. Walgreens sits in the village.
Yeah.
Take a look at the disparity between the two signs. Because when
Yeah.
Walgreens came in, they wanted the same thing that Rite Aid had. So we're willing to work with you. I believe I'm speaking for at least for myself. Now,
Does the dealership sit lower than 155?
Yeah, I don't know what the
Yeah, it
grade
does.
is on it,
It-
but I'm thinking of what we did for
Coles,
Coles, and also the body shop down by the Northway, where they put a monument sign in, but they raised the base a little bit to bring it up to grade if they had to put it in that area. But this won't fly, in my opinion.
But somebody was making the point that the property does go down from the street. It's below
Right.
grade from the street.
If I may, Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
that was this is Steve Meservey, Code Enforcement. That was going to be my question for Mr. Khan.
Okay,
I know doing the inspections over there that there is a pretty steep grade. So I was wondering if something could have been adjusted to bring that up. I know you've got the sign pretty high, so you want to be able to be visible from 155, but you don't want to ride at car level, so maybe you could build that up.
Yeah, we did that. If the board remembers, we did that for Coles, or well, not Coles, but I forgot the name of the business, the body shop.
It's cold.
Coles, yeah. They give them a little bit of let the base bring it up to grade.
I don't know.
What do you guys think a good height would be if we came down to 15 feet?
Not on a pole sign. I don't think the board wants to see a pole sign 15 feet in the air.
No.
well, do we know how far below grade the location is?
Well, that's the question, Dennis. I don't know.
Yeah,
You'd have to tell
I
me.
don't know that. I don't know. Tom, do you know
What was the question?
how far below grade are we?
I don't know the exact numbers. I guess we'd have to go out there and shoot that to figure out exactly how far below grade we are.
Well, I think
We need that information.
we need that information so we can make an informed ruling so it's comparable to the rest of the businesses in the area.
I think there's room for compromise there.
I do too. But I think we need to know that starting point.
I agree.
All right. Yeah, I actually have the map here with some topography on it. It appears to be about 8 feet from the road to the sign base. I think it's included in your packets, actually, the map.
Yeah, I can't read it. It's kind of small.
Yeah. So New Karner Road's at 330 and the sign is at about 322. So it is an 8-foot differential with you're dealing with. So really then the sign's only 12 feet above the grade of the road.
What do we say? 6 feet? 6 feet is the height?
That's your code, yes.
Yes.
So it would take 8 feet to get it up to street level? Is that what you're saying?
Correct, yes.
And how would you do that? With a base, or would you have a pole?
I mean, that's essentially what this sign does by having that, the standard Volvo.
Yeah, but understood. But I just think that pole is not going to fly to me.
Rather have more of a monument underneath it where it's solid.
Yeah, that's the norm. The norm we follow with the codas in the town, in the village.
See, I guess the issue we have is there's the Volvo family of signs, call it. That's their standard sign package.
Yeah,
This
but
is the
that's,
standard
we've gone
pole
through that
sign.
before. And, do you know how high each one of those panels are? If you go to the drawing that shows the Volvo sign,
Sign itself is 3'7", 20 overall. So
each one of those panels, how high are they?
they're about 3-foot panels.
So guys, what do you think of this? What if they brought it up, put it on 2 of those panels? That would give them 6, and then 6 for the monument sign.
So you're saying the sign would be 6 feet above street level, correct?
You know, if they took these panels and they used 3, say, 3 of them, and that should bring it up to about. That would bring it up. Yeah, that would give them 6 feet, and then they put the sign on top of that, the base.
Wouldn't we still be below grade? I mean, if it takes 8 feet
Well,
just to get from the
You'd have
ground?
to you'd have to shoot it. I'm just thinking that would be one way around it.
So if the sign's in fact going 8 foot below the grade of the road, and we're allowed 6 foot with the, the town's ordinance is 6 foot, could we do a 14-foot sign from the grade it's at, and that'll give us 6 foot above the grade of the road?
Trying to go.
Go ahead. Who's got somebody jumping in here?
That was just me saying, that's what I was thinking was you got the
All
base,
right.
put the sign above it, which would bring it up to above street level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we let them,
Do it with these panels, it doesn't matter.
understood. I'm thinking, Billy, if we say we give them 9 feet of panels and then a sign on top of that.
That brings it up to what, 11 or 12 feet?
Yeah.
I can live with that.
Yeah, because it's not 12 feet above the ground level.
Right.
I can live with that one. Yeah, that sounds like how do these guys feel?
Well, ask them.
I want to make sure I understand this. I'm sorry, I didn't know if you were asking me or one of the.
Well, either of you. We got a base and then we put the sign above it. It's going to bring it up above the street level, which is what we're looking for.
How tall is the actual sign itself, Tom?
The sign itself is 3'7".
3'7".
Yep. And then there's a little piece on top that's another 14.5 inches.
Right, you got to have that piece on top, right?
Yep. Yeah. Volvo's got their standard signs. We're not going to be able to deviate without
Well,
going back to Volvo.
It's about
Well-
4 feet combined. Is that what you're saying? The sign plus the piece above it? Did you say about 4 feet?
It's 4.5. It's almost 5 feet. It's about just
5
just
feet.
under 5 feet for the sign and the piece above it.
Right.
Hey, if I can just make a point of order here, and
Go ahead.
just point out that just because the corporate has their own designs, we have our village ordinance here. We're trying to control them and make it competitive for everybody, but at the same
Right.
time too, pleasant for the village. And we just dealt with one dealership recently that came back with, this is what corporate said they have to have for their signs. And we explained, and she and the owner dealership went back to corporate and explained what the village's concern was, and we met them halfway.
Well, Dennis and board, what if we leave it like this? Why don't we let them go back to the drawing board and come back with a drawing of how this, with the right dimensions of how they propose to do it?
And if I can
feasible.
Go ahead.
if I can piggyback on that, can we go ahead and approve the other signage that they
Yes.
got for the building so they can move on that?
Yes,
And we can-
yes, I'd be inclined, I'd be favorable to that.
Yeah. I would too.
Thank you. One thing I'm just off the top of my head, I don't know, we'd have to do some research on what signs they have available. I believe they have a 15-foot sign, but I don't know what they have other than that. So I'd have to go back to corporate unless the 15-foot sign would suffice.
Eric, I don't think the board hasn't even brought the length of it up. I think the issue is the height. Okay,
Right.
so,
Yeah, well, I'm talking about a 15-foot pole. I believe they have a version because everything is kind of proportionate. It's my understanding. So
yeah.
if it's a smaller pole, then the actual sign drops down a bit as well.
Correct. Yeah, they do have a 15-foot. So if that works for everybody, that puts us about where it needs to be, giving us a little right around 6 feet above the grade of the road, which again is what we're shooting for, to kind of be at that right height with everything else in the village.
Well, okay. Well, again, what I think what should happen is board can jump in, is come back and give us a diagram of what it's going to look like at 15 feet, so or whatever dimension you figure you can work out. I think you got a good understanding of what we're looking for.
Okay.
Okay.
If I have, let me see if I have a 15-foot drawing. I can share my screen. One second here. Yep, there it is.
I'll tell you the truth, Tom, the way I feel about it is I'd like to see it submitted and have you come back. I don't know how the rest of the board feels on that, but
Yeah, same here, Jim.
I'm not big on this.
I think we can move ahead on the other signs. Though.
Yeah, I think that's, I agree to give them that and come back with a drawing with the true topography of the land, and we can see how it's going to work out.
Okay. Yeah, we'll come back with a 15-footer.
Okay.
Whatever, it comes out to you. I think you got a clear understanding what we're looking for.
All right.
So, should we make a motion to give them the signs as proposed, with the exception of the monument sign, which they're going to come back on?
Yeah.
Does that sound right to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
All right, can somebody make a motion on that?
We're talking that Capitol sign and the Volvo sign? on the
Yes,
building?
the ones on the building, Billy.
And the directionals, the
Yep.
certified sign, the glass, the sign signage on the doors. I'll make the motion that we
Okay.
grant those.
All right, all in favor? Or excuse me, on a question?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Thank you. All right,
Thank
so
you.
you know what your mission is.
Yep.
Okay, guys?
The next meeting is March 25th, just to keep
Yeah, I
in
want to
mind.
talk about that for a minute. Okay.
All right, well, thank you, and we'll come back.
All right.
And thank you.
Try, we'll work. We'll do the best we can to help you out, but we
Yeah.
gotta stay within the limits of the code.
All right, and I'll
Eric,
be communicating with Volvo as well. All
Eric,
right.
it might help if we had some kind of a schematic where you're seeing your your base level for the sign, and then
Yeah.
bring it up to the road so we see what we're looking. So like the side view is,
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
Yeah, a good, because what you gave us, the 11 by 7s, they're kind of hard to see for us old guys. So if so get the topography right, we could be okay. All
All
right.
right, we'll work on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, guys, have a good night.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Good night.
Now, I just got one thing to bring up. I was gonna ask to have a meeting on the 25th, whether we had people or not, okay? Because I don't know where I'm gonna be, and I just would like to have a meeting.
We do.
Well, let's hope so. Now, you never know. I lost more elections thinking I was gonna win them.
not
Well,
the,
Bought the tickets.
Tough to lose when nobody's running against you.
Yeah, you'd be
I
surprised.
know.
I had
You
that
never-
happen before,
You
but
never know. You never know.
anyway.
I think,
Depends on, it depends on what ballot boxes they're using.
yeah, well, as long as you don't mail them in, I'm okay. Nobody will complain. But okay, I'm gonna give you an early preview. We're not recording anymore, are we?
Yes.
Until you end the meeting, we are recording.
All right, we're not recording.
You,
Anyway,
you can end the meeting if you would like.
I make a motion that we conclude the meeting.
I'll
all in
second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Can I just make one comment before we end the meeting?
Yeah.
Regarding the Volvo freestanding sign, I know I've recused myself, but